College 101 podcast. This is a podcast made by students for students, and we kind of talk every now and then about like our experiences at college, and we give like tips and tricks on how to make our college experience better. So if you haven't seen our last two podcasts, check them out. The first one, we kind of just introduced ourselves, and in the second one, we talked about balancing life and college. So today we're going to be talking about Erasmus, or working abroad for college, which I'm really excited about because I've never been abroad for college, so I can't wait to hear about everyone else's experiences. So I'm just going to go around to everyone and ask, Sarah, I'll start with you. Where did you go and what did you get up to?
So I studied journalism with my undergrad, and as part of it, it was compulsory that you do Erasmus. So in third year, so the first half of third year, I did work experience, and then the second half, from January to June, I think, yeah, for 6 months, I was in Barcelona on Erasmus, in the University of Pompefabra. I'm probably butchering that, but yeah, no, it was a class experience. I definitely recommend it.
All right, cool. Fiona, what did you get up to?
I was just working abroad, so I went to America. It's a little island called Nantucket off of Cape Cod. I'm already American, so I basically like followed my friend because she goes on J1's there for 3 years in a row she went, so it's very last minute, but it's really good. Definitely recommend.
Very cool. Josie, what about you?
So I done my Erasmus in Paris. It was compulsory as well. Like Sarah, I did international business with French, so you had to pick to do at least one semester or the whole year. I picked the whole year, and I was in college in, I'm going to probably pronounce it wrong now, but it's École Supérieure de what was it? ESCE, École Supérieure de I can't even remember the name actually. A French college. It was literally just like right beside the Eiffel Tower. Like we could remember, like in classes, like we could see the Eiffel Tower out the window. It was so cool.
That is so cool.
Second semester, I could have stayed in college, but I didn't really want to. I got placement in a company, and that's where my love of marketing started because I was yeah, so that was mine.
Yeah, and what about you, Eilish?
I did media in English, and I did mine in the semester of autumn to December in 2016, and I went to Belgium, a little city called Ghent, and I absolutely loved it. The college was really tough. I did master's modules in third year while abroad for some reason. That's what they made us do.
Oh, really?
But I loved living in Belgium. I'd go back there anytime.
Alright, cool. So have any of you done J1's, or has it just been the working abroad for you, Fiona, and then everyone else did Erasmus?
Oh yeah, I did a J1 in 2016.
Very cool. Where did you go?
I went to Long Island in New York. So I was about a 40-minute train ride from NYC. I worked in a country club with really rich Americans.
Oh yeah.
Hi, very cool. We've got like a bit of everything here, so that's great. Yeah. And then we just have me that's not done anything. I'll start with you again, Sarah. Like, how did you go about getting into Erasmus? Was it just did you pick where you got to go yourself, or did college pick for you? Or
so the way it worked out was we actually did have a long list of places we to go, like maybe 12 or more, and like then you just decided where you went. And you put a letter, you like wrote out your preferences and you put it into the Erasmus office. And then I remember my friends were like, oh my God, Sal's like, have you not put your letter in? I was like, oh, we've like months to do that yet. And they're like, oh, we just put ours in there. I was like, oh yeah, grand. So I went to the office and I put in, we all decided we were going to go to Malta. So we'd all written Malta at our first choice. Gave in my letter, they're like, oh no, Malta's all full up. There's only 4 people allowed. And I was like, what? Because I wanted to go with all my friends. And I was like, can you make any exceptions? But no. So I had Barcelona as my second choice, and then that's where I ended up going. And I actually ended up going out alone by myself. There was another guy in my course meant to be coming, but like for health reasons, he couldn't come out for another like 2 months after me. So I went out by myself, which like I didn't intend to do, but it was a really good experience, and it was great to kind of just do something like you know, off your own merit and just be like, oh, I did that by myself. And then the same guy from my course came out 2 months later. Like we became really good friends, and like we're still kind of best friends today. So yeah, that was it really.
Very cool. Okay, what about you, Josie, for Erasmus? And was it kind of the same process then for you, or did you get to
Well,
pick?
it was kind of, yeah, like they have like connections with some colleges in France, but then you kind of give your like preferences. And like first they were trying to send me to this place in like near the Alps, and when I looked it up, it was like a really small town with like a tiny population, and I was like, no, I don't want to go there. And they kind of like they were just like, this is because it was, my course was like the first year, well, it's kind of a new course in CIT, so they were still kind of trying to make connections and stuff. But anyway, like they were going to try and send me there first, and then I was like, no, like I don't want, I knew like living in a small town, like I wouldn't enjoy it, like especially, you know, it'd be harder to meet people. So then I kind of looked at my other options, and I had been in Paris before. I worked as an au pair during the summer of my first year of college, so I was already really like familiar with Paris. So I was like, I want to go to Paris, and saw like if they had any connections there, and they were happy enough to send me there. But the only thing was they were like, no other students were going there, so I'd have to go there on my own. But I was like, I kind of was like, well, my only option is to either go to this place like near the Alps with someone else, and I possibly won't like make any more friends, or go like to Paris, bite the bullet, go on my own, and just try. It would be much easier to meet people and more things to do there. So that was kind of like what I decided to do. And I'll admit, like when I kind of like I didn't really process it. Like I was just kind of like, yeah, I'm going to Paris, and packed all my bags. And then once I got there, I remember like the first day, I was just like, it hit me. I was like, I'm here on my own. And I was just like, after like, because I didn't like, none of my parents came with me to like move in and stuff, so it was all me. And I was just like, oh my god, like I'm actually like living in a different country on my own. I didn't know anyone, so I was totally kind of freaked out. I'd say like the first day. And then I think it as well, like you need to, where I lived, my accommodation was like it was like a student complex, but like over there most of them are like dorms, so you have your own room, but there's like shared kitchens, and like there's like gyms and stuff. So it's it was so easy to meet people, because like you'll just be in the kitchen, and then like everybody on that floor will be making their dinner as well. So it took like, I think for like 2 weeks I hadn't really saw anyone. But then once people started moving in, I was just like, and then it kind of kicks you to like make the effort as well to talk to people. Like I remember like the first time, I don't know if I'm going on too much of a rant.
No, work away.
First time that I like I saw other people in the kitchen that spoke English, and like I'm not really the type to like, you know, like go up like and start talking to people usually, but it was like I was kind of like, this is
got really excited.
You're on my own. I know.
Now or never.
I just went over and I was just like, oh hey, I was like, I speak English too. And they were kind of like, and they're all so nice, and everybody like, they're all kind of study just after moving over as well, to like doing the exact same thing as me, like all coming over from different countries to study. So everybody's just trying to make friends, so it's much less intimidating.
That's really nice.
Yeah,
it's so good that you were able to like talk to college about getting moved there instead of the other place. It's so handy that they were so accommodating to you.
Yeah, no, I was lucky that way as well, because I think they were like, they didn't really want to send anyone on their own, because they were afraid that like that person would be like, oh, I want to go home or whatever. But I was just like, I kind of didn't think about it until I was there, and I was like, and kind of like I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to make such an effort now to like make friends. Like it was so worth it. Like I made friends from like everywhere, and like in a way as well, like it was kind of nice to just talk to people from like all over the world, because I know like there was some people that went with like some people in the class that went with like 10 other people in the class, and then maybe much like friends from other countries. Like, you know, like if you go on your own, like you're going to make like friends from from everywhere too, and you
Yeah.
kind
Very cool. What about you, Eilish? Did you go on your own, or did you just go with friends from college, or?
Um, the whole process of getting to Ghent was kind of similar to Sarah's. I put down my preferences and I got Ghent, and I was lucky that 3 of my friends also got Ghent as well in Belgium. So we went over, I think, the very end of August, early September, and we had a kind of a dorm experience as well, like Josie, where we'd have our bedrooms were all down the corridor from each other, and then a communal kitchen. But I found that the Erasmus student network there was really good at hosting parties, so the students from different universities could all come together at, you know, different bars. There was kind of a student area where near the college that, you know, all the Belgian students mixed with the international, so we found it very easy to make friends.
Very good. So how would you compare that to going on the J1 then? Was there a big difference between the two for you?
I found how do I say this in a nice way? Basically, like, in terms of, I found the Europeans obviously knew not a lot more about Ireland compared to the Americans I encountered.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
But I suppose for me, what I found when I worked in America on the J1, that I kind of got an insight into, I don't know, can I talk about racism? I don't know, was that allowed?
Oh yeah, really?
I suppose I worked with a lot of South Americans, and they were all lovely, but I just found that the way they were treated compared to the way that I was treated was very, very different. I was treated very, very well, as opposed to some of the South Americans. Some of the staff would say, "Oh, I want to be served by an English speaker," as opposed to, you know, someone who spoke Spanish as their first language.
serious.
Oh really? That's mad.
Oh yeah.
Where were
Yeah.
you?
Bayshore, Long Island, it was called. So there was a country club, and it was called Southward Ho, and like it's such a funny name for a country club. But yeah, no, they were very, very, like, basically the husbands would golf all day and the wives would lounge by the pool. It was kind of a different culture. I'd have to say I would have preferred life in Belgium as opposed to life in America, but that's just my experience. So
Yeah, that's really interesting. Fiona, how did you find it then? You said that you went over with a friend, was it?
Yeah, she'd gone to Nantucket 2 years before, and this was her third year going basically. And she just said to me one day, "Oh, do you want to go?" And then I was like, I didn't really think about it first, and then I was like, actually, why not? Like, it's my last year of college. I probably won't get a chance again. So I literally like applied for every job under the sun, and eventually got a job in a small gallery. Like, but they sell like paintings and jewelry and everything. And then I had to find my own house through Facebook. But no, it was really good. The same kind of thing with Eilish though. It was a completely different culture over there. Like, I worked part-time every once in a while in a yacht club, which is kind of similar to the country club vibe. And it's so similar, like, you know, the vibe is so similar like that, where most of the people working on the island didn't really live on the islands and things like that. But no, it's I don't know, it's still like, it's kind of like everyone would say, and I took it's just such a different vibe. Like, I don't know, you always want to go back, even though it's so expensive there. You still want to go back. I don't know.
Okay. Was there anything like what was like the main thing that you probably learned about yourself and being abroad? Like, for example, in Barcelona, when you came home, like, did you feel like you had learned a lot did you get a lot out of the Erasmus?
Yeah, I loved my Erasmus, but like, you know, it wasn't all like plain sailing. Like I said this to one of my friends now who recently moved to New Zealand. I was like, just because like it's sunny and, you know, you can go to the beach or you can, you know, sail to an island or do whatever, it doesn't mean that like you're going to be happy all the time. Because I think sometimes when you're going somewhere that's like so gorgeous and so lovely and sunny all the time, you think that you have to be in holiday mode, or you have to be like happy all the time. Obviously can't keep that up for 6 months, and then you're away from your like friends and family as well. So like I was a bit lonely sometimes, but I think like overall I had such a good experience. And like I was there 6 months and I had like 8 people come out to me like to visit, so that was nice because that was like a mini holiday, like each time everyone came. And yeah, I think yeah, I think I did learn that like I do need to be with people a lot. Like I am very social, and I also learned like it gave me such a good opportunity to travel. Like I would not have traveled as much if I hadn't gone there. Like in January, like we had a wedding in Rome, and I remember I was in Amsterdam, and then there was a day break, then I went to Rome, then a week later I went to Andorra skiing, then I went to Nice to visit my sister, and my cousin came over to visit me, and the night before he was like, would you have any interest in going to Montpellier in France? And I was like, yeah, like I would. And then we just got a bus to Montpellier, like 5 hours, and then we got another bus on to Nice, and then I just flew home back to Barcelona myself. Like it's actually mad. So like
Yeah.
kind of just, you kind of become more free, like, and I had all the money saved previously, so like it was great to travel. It was so good, and like you're traveling by yourself as well, so different. So yeah, I definitely recommend it, and like I recommend to travel as much as you can, because like we're here in Ireland, so it's an island, so like you might not be able to travel as freely, or flights are more expensive, whereas like when you're in Central Europe, like it's a lot easier. So I definitely take that opportunity if you have it.
Yeah, what about down in France then, Josie? I'd assume that you probably had the same kind of experience being there on your own and traveling and that.
Yeah, I think like I kind of always love like traveling on my own anyway, because like I've gone to Mexico over on my own, like visit my grandparents when I was really young. So like for me it wasn't that unusual, and as well I had been like to as an au pair I traveled on my own, so I kind of I did like kind of, and as well like I kind of found like I like to have, when I was going to Paris, like, and when you're kind of like trying to see like you could literally you could see Paris for like a year. Like there's so many museums, there's so many places, it's just massive. Like, but like it's nice to like go to those places on your own sometimes too, like because like you're not dependent on anyone. And there was one trip that I did do on my own as well. I went to Madrid for a weekend, and as well like I was kind of like scared or whatever, but it was when I was working, and all the other Erasmus students, they were all going on trips, and I couldn't go because like I was working 9 to 5 Monday to Friday. So I was just kind of a bit annoyed at France and everybody's traveling, so I was like, I'm just going to book a trip by myself. And I went to Madrid, and then it turned out that I knew like a girl there. She was friends with one of my friends in France, an Australian girl. So like, and then one of my other friends that I knew from Italy was living there as well. So like, it just like, I didn't plan it at all, but it actually had been such a good weekend, like just going out and everything. Just kind of like, I think just being out, like when you're in a different country as well, like just getting out your comfort zone. Like, because I know like there was times as well, like where you do kind of, it isn't all like plain sailing, like, but you kind of take what you can't really do, like in Ireland, like you can't really just book like it's like, as in like over there it was so cheap to book flights, like 40 euro flights to Madrid. Like you don't get that here. And I was just like anything that you can really do like not in Ireland, because it makes you kind of appreciate the place more, I think. And what else I would say, would kind of like try and get into the culture. So I was kind of like, I was friends with some like French people and stuff, and we used to like, they kind of, just being with French people, you get into the culture more, and you kind of, you see like their view on things and everything, and I think it's good to like look at things like their way as well. So you kind of, then you don't feel like so out of place or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, cool. I'm going to go to Fiona next, so because I think Eilish, you kind of have the experience from doing both kind of the J1 and the Erasmus, so it'll be really interesting to hear like the kind of differences that you have in like thoughts on both of them from tips and that. So Fiona, what would you give for like what did you take away from going to America?
I was kind of the opposite from Sarah. Like the way she said she couldn't be in holiday mode the whole time, because I was only there working. Like it really let me kind of be completely free. Like, and it was really strange because even though we did work every single day, we still, like Josie said, like we would go out and we would do so much stuff together. Like there'd be days you go to the beach on your own, and like it was just such a like nice, lovely vibe because everyone was working and not studying basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like that difference really made my summer, like because you had no real responsibilities to think about because we'd all saved up our money before we went and everything. So yeah, it's
Alright,
more
cool.
relaxing.
Yeah. So Eilish, what, like, do you have different tips from like or kind of did you draw different experiences from both?
I suppose for me, what made my experience in Belgium so special was I took on, they gave me a buddy, you know, like a kind of a local from the area who was in the college, and I got on with her so well. I'm still really good friends with her now, so I got to experience Belgium with the local who knew all the good places to go, you know, on nights out, different good places to eat, you know, different places to go see. So like I found that if I had had her to show me around, I wouldn't have got such an in-depth kind of experience into the Belgian culture. So I would recommend anyone going over to, if you can, make friends with locals, do.
Yeah.
In terms of the J1, what I found as well was just being able to experience that part of the world, being able to hop on a train and within 40 minutes be, you know, in one of the biggest cities in the world was amazing. I actually didn't find I was homesick because, again, the people I worked with were very friendly, and I think what they would bring us places as well. So I think it's good to put yourself out there in the beginning when you go, because you know it is a big culture shock when you go over. I think either way, I think any of you who went abroad or worked abroad, you'd find even the food is different and stuff. So I think you kind of have to put yourself out there, otherwise you're not going to get, like in both the J1 and the Erasmus, if you don't even put yourself out there, you're not going to get the same experience, like a good experience, really.
Yeah, it sounds really good that you all like got such great experiences out of it from both the Erasmus and going to America. I think that's really, really good. So would you all recommend to anyone that's listening to definitely do one?
Yeah,
Definitely.
for sure.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay,
What
because
do
you're
you
after making me regret not doing one now.
Still could.
I still could
Good
in the middle of the masters. So does anyone have any like really funny stories to kind of finish us off?
I do. So where I was working part-time for the yacht club, there was basically this huge wedding, and she was actually Irish, one of the people getting married. The mother had worked for the Obama campaign, so she knew Hillary Clinton. So Hillary and Bill Clinton were there, which wasn't like the funny part. The funny part was like all the Secret Service was there. So they were like dotted around the place, and there was this place called the snack bar where like you'd line up the kids on stool and they would eat. So we had all that part turned off because it like was really windy and raining the night that we had the wedding. So they were under this big marquee, and we'd bring the plates out of the marquee into like where the snack bar is. So each time you'd walk past with plates, you just see all the Secret Service lined up eating out of the boxes in the dark, sitting on their little stools. It was just so funny. But, like we couldn't talk to her or anything. Like we weren't even allowed to acknowledge that
That's
she was there.
mad.
It was so strange. Like, but like the Secret Service were really nice. Like there was like glasses dropped and stuff, and they helped everyone pick them up. It was really cute. So it's like
Does
a big
anyone else
like
have any funny
celebrity.
stories? Anyone else meet any celebrities or anything when they were abroad?
Actually, I saw like I'm a diehard Beyonce fan, and did you ever like see she has like these twins that dance with her on all her tours? They're
Yeah.
called I saw one of them walking like down one of the streets in Paris outside like a Nike shop, and I was like, oh my god, it's the twins.
Isn't one of them going to be in the new Little Mermaid movie?
Yeah, and the curly.
Yeah.
God.
That is
But,
gas.
one funny story that actually came to mind was when one of my friends came to visit me, because I wasn't really with like Irish people a lot, or not really a lot of English speakers, so I had to totally like talk slower all the time, because like most people, like English wasn't their first language. And then when my friends would come and visit me, they'd be like, why are you talking to me like I can't speak
Yeah.
English? Hello, how are you? Oh,
So will we wrap it up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So everyone, like, give a thumbs up if you would recommend doing an Erasmus or going to America. So everyone, if you're listening into this, let us know in the comments if you're thinking of doing an Erasmus, or if you have done one or gone to America on a J1. Let us know your tips and tricks as to what you would do. And if you have any questions, leave them below and we'll try and answer them for you as well as best as we can. So thank you for listening in. Hope we helped out in some way.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.